I could sit around and wait all day. You lay easy on my mind, like a candle I just burn away. All we really have is time. All we really have is time. I don't wanna waste it on anybody. Take it with anybody but you. I don't wanna waste it on anybody. Take it with.
terrible tulip experience with my sister. She's a brat. Okay, so I wanted to do a little reading update for you because I currently have 2 books on the go, and one is a nonfiction, one is a fiction. So I'll start out with our fiction one. Right now I'm currently reading The Once and Future Witches by Alix E. Harrow. That's what this book looks like. And if you watch a lot of booktubers, odds are you may have heard of this one already. But I'm about halfway through with it and I am enjoying it a lot. There's a lot of things I like about it. Is it the most fast-paced, action-filled book? No. No, it's not. But it's just one of those, like, I don't know, easygoing books that you can just sit down on a porch swing or in a park and enjoy. You know what kind of vibe I'm talking about? Like, just, I don't know, to me it just feels like a springy kind of book, and it's, I really am enjoying it, and I'll give you some of the reasons why. So, for instance, although the magic in it is a little on the not realistic side, I mean, they have staffs turning into snakes, and I mean, a lot of what you would expect in books, movies, TV, kind of the unrealistic styled magic. That is very much a case, but if you look at the heart of the ingredients that they use for some of these spells, some of them are very much ingredients that people who practice witchcraft today would use. Juniper, there's different, I think hemlock is one of them, hyssop they mention. So they do mention a lot of herbs and things that you would actually use in spell work today. It's just the actual magic itself does tend to be a little more on the unrealistic side of what magic really is. But I mean, that's not like it's a big deal. I don't mind that. But it is kind of cool to see that the actual ingredients being used are definitely things that witches would incorporate into spell work today. Oh, what else? So another thing that I like that the author does is they mention like little small nuances that are just so incredibly relatable and almost like a tiny little jab to the way society is. So for instance, at one point they're making like dresses for an event, and the one lady like makes a comment about, by God, can we please make sure they have pockets? And like that just was so relatable to me, because even though, I mean, it seems silly to think about these things, but it's so true. I mean, even today, women's clothing most of the time does not have pockets, or at least not big pockets, and most of the time they're fake pockets that you can't even put stuff into. And so I found that kind of amusing, and just because it was so true, and it really is true. And you know, you look at society and maybe why women wear purses, and most men obviously don't need to, because men usually just carry their wallet and their keys, and that's about it. So they can stuff those bad boys right into their oversized pockets. But women, although, I mean, yes, sometimes we have other things, lotion, lipstick, I don't know, what else you could be carrying, tampons, you know, like, yes, we tend to maybe possibly carry more things, but for the women out there who are super simplistic and maybe don't like carrying a bunch of stuff, like my sister, for instance, if our clothes actually had pockets that would work for us, maybe we wouldn't have to carry a bag all the time. But then, you know, that would ruin the purse industry, and they're all about making money. So there's that. But I did find it just kind of interesting that they make subtle little comments here and there, and I can't remember the other ones, but that one off the top of my head was one that I just found to be kind of amusing. I do like how in this book you kind of follow three sisters, and they are kind of estranged at the beginning of the book. Their childhood was kind of full of trauma with their dad. I guess his dad was very abusive. He was not a good dad. He could be really charming one moment and then trying to beat them the next. And so then at one point, as the other two got older, they left the youngest sister behind. And so there is a lot of inner conflict between these sisters, and they do end up meeting up in New Salem, or Old Salem? I don't know. New Salem, I think. Anyway, though, so you see that kind of dynamic between the three sisters, and me being one of two other sisters as well. It's just interesting to see because, like, I mean, the conflicts and the interactions between these sisters feel very real. And our youngest sister, James Juniper, she is kind of jaded in a way from her other two sisters, and kind of felt like she had been left behind. And so you kind of get to see them throughout the story kind of reestablish these relationships, and they get to talk and understand why certain things happened the way they did. And so each of them has a very different personality. The youngest one is very fiery. She is always looking for a fight. The other two sisters are a little bit more low-key. One's very intellectual. She's very much, she works at a library, so she's all about learning knowledge and all of that goes into, you know, books and research. And then the other one is just, I think, kind of going about her business. Like she's just kind of there. I mean, I don't exactly have like a detailed description of her. I mean, honestly, I feel like they describe her as very pretty and that she easily attracts men. And so I wouldn't say she's a flirt, but maybe a little bit. But yeah, so you have the three dynamics and they're very different. You also have this young lady who they call her Cleopatra. That's her name, Cleopatra Quinn. And I really like this character. She is this independent Black woman trying to make her way in a time period when segregation and, you know, that was very much a thing. And I mean, honestly, this I'm going to talk about in a minute, but there's a lot of content in here that is very relatable to things that have happened in the past, as well as the same issues that we're still dealing with today. And so anyway, I just really love her character though, because she's very independent. She knows what she wants. I think she's a very strong witch, although we haven't seen tons of her witchcraft yet in the story, but I do think she has quite a bit of power in her. And I also feel like, I could be wrong, but I feel like she comes from a background of voodoo potentially. And because they have made subtle little comments that her magic is a little bit different than what Juniper and Agnes and Bella, what their magic is, and what the ladies' society's magic is. And so, yeah, but you just see them kind of trying to bring back witchcraft and bring back, more importantly, just the power that they believe women should have and that they don't have. They just feel like they've been beaten down, downtrodden, that they're easily controlled by the men in society. And so it's interesting to see. Also, something that I thought was kind of clever that the author does is they add in fairy tale references, which I thought was interesting. Like certain chapters, or they'll, in the middle of it, talk about a story that one of the sisters would tell when they were younger, and it would be a fairy tale. And I thought that just, although I don't know if like there's like a bunch of in-depth meaning behind all of that, I do find it just kind of an extra little tidbit of magic that they kind of add within that, which I find entertaining and kind of interesting. Also they add little bits of actual like history throughout the book. Like they mentioned Tituba, who she was obviously part of witchcraft that happened in the Salem witch trials. She was one of the ones that was reported as being a witch. I do believe that she was able to get out, like she wasn't killed with the rest of them. I don't believe, hopefully my history lessons, I'm remembering that correctly, but I don't believe she actually got hung or was killed with any of the other witches, which might be kind of an ode to the fact that she may have had some witchiness in her because she was able to manifest her freedom. Who knows? You know, back then, I mean, I'm sure there were actual people practicing witchcraft at that time, although a lot of the times innocent people, I say innocent, like witchcraft is some bad thing. Obviously it's not. I absolutely love practicing witchcraft and I wouldn't change a darn thing about it. But you know, back in the day, innocent people who weren't practicing or had nothing to do with witchcraft were being killed for possessing magic, or it was very much the understanding that they were laying with the devil and that they were, you know, causing all this harm, when really that's not what witchcraft is. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is a baneful side of magic and you can 100% go there, and I have had to do it on occasion. That's not my first method of magic that I would prefer to do, despite my name being the Hex Witch. I don't actually like to go to that magic unless I really, really need to. You know, hexes have such a strong, powerful energy to them, and there is the possibility of it backfiring or going wrong. And most of the time I just feel like people don't deserve to be hexed unless they've just done something really bad, or there's just a real serious reason for needing somebody kind of out of the way, out of your life, you know. But that's my personal opinion. I figure, you know, just understand the potential consequences and do what you want, you know. I'm not going to tell you the right way and wrong way of practicing magic because everybody is just so vastly different. But like I did mention just briefly, there are tons of content and very relevant issues being discussed in this story. There is, you know, the issue of the LGBTQ community, there's gender issues, there's race issues, and, you know, it's just, it's frustrating is what it is. It's frustrating, here I go on a tyrant. It's frustrating that these things are still issues that are happening today. Like, these are not just things that have happened in our past, although I absolutely think we need to look at our past so that we can move forward in the future in a positive way, and especially since I do tend to believe that history has a tendency of repeating itself, which I just find interesting because as people you would think we would be intelligent enough to move past all of this, but no, we're still stuck in the same crap that we were in way back in the day. And so it is a little bit disheartening to read about because the author does a really great job of interweaving these issues and making it, just really putting a spotlight on it. And it is, yeah, it is disappointing to see that we're still dealing with these issues today. You know, like, for instance, the abortion rights being taken away. I'm sorry, I don't believe that any old man in the government office should have any right at all to say what I do with my own body. I am a female. They have not lived one day as a female. They don't know what it's like. And the rules are so backwards because, you know, the rapists that did the raping, if they get caught, which most of the time they don't, will get maybe, 7 years in prison? Now it's the doctor and the lady who wants to get the abortion. If it's done, they could be in, like, life prison. Like, tell me how that makes sense. Like, seriously, tell me how morally that makes any kind of sense. Like, it just doesn't. And then, you know, you hear stories of women losing their babies partway through, and they're having to carry these stillborn babies all the way to term just because, you know, it's a life. Like, I don't get it. And then, yeah, still having to deal with race issues. I mean, come on, guys. Like, we should be so past this. You know, like, it's sad that people still judge people by the color of their skin. Like, that just, I don't get it, and it's disappointing. It really is. And you wonder why you have so many people standing up and speaking out about it, and so many riots, and it's because people are tired of it. They're tired of the shit. Now, I'm not saying, you know, violence is the answer. I'm just saying I can understand where some of the frustration comes from, because it's just, this stuff has been going on for too damn long. And then, you know, I'm one of those people who just believes that as long as you love somebody and you're not causing harm to anybody, I don't care who you love. I don't care. You know, that's my personal opinion. I would much rather you be loving somebody, no matter who they are, no matter if it's another woman, a man, transgender, whatever you are and whatever makes you happy as a person and whatever makes you a better person to the world, please be that person. Please be that person. I don't care what it is. As long as, you know, you aren't molesting children, you aren't raping somebody, you aren't, you know, murdering somebody, we're good. I don't care what you're doing. Now, am I a huge fan of massive amounts of PDA out in public? No, but that doesn't matter who you are. I'm just personally not an out in public affectionate person. That's me personally. You could be totally different, and it's whatever. It's whatever, you know? Like, I don't care that much. But it's just the fact that these things are still being discussed, and still we're having all these problems, and still people are not being treated with equality, and it's just, women are still not paid as much as men doing the same job with the same amount of experience. tell me why that's still happening today. You know, I don't know. That's my rant. And I just wish the world could find harmony. I wish we could all just get along and embrace each other how we are. And it may not be exactly what you agree with, but just keeping an open mind and realizing that what someone else does most likely does not affect you. So it's like, why do people care so much? And why do they think these are certain subjects that we should debate in politics? Like, I'm sorry, I think there are bigger issues at hand that we should be arguing about versus who somebody is allowed to love. And yeah, I'm sorry, the racism, the sexism, the hatred towards the LGBTQ, society, it's wrong. It's wrong. That's all there is to it. It is wrong. And so this book really is a good reference point to kind of show you how all these things are still very much happening today, and that they happened back then, and we still unfortunately have not made tons of progress. So I am enjoying the book just from the almost, political side of it. Like, it's funny. It's not like it feels like it's just lecturing you about the ways of the world today, but it very much does put it in a point of view of, that was happening back then and it's still happening today, and what are we gonna do about it? So I'm liking it. It's an interesting read. Not the most action-packed, but that's not the purpose of it. So the other book, the nonfiction book, is a little bit of a hunk of a book. I am reading The Only Astrology Book You'll Ever Need by Joanna, Martine, Woolfolk. And this bad boy is a big book. But I'm almost about halfway through with it. And honestly, I love astrology. I think it's absolutely fascinating. I think it is so accurate to people. It's chillingly scary at times. Especially now that I've read some astrology books before, but this book is a real deep dive into it. And I honestly feel like, just from what I've read so far, this honestly could be the only astrology book you would need, because it goes into so much detail. It goes into your sun signs, but then it goes into decantes and cusps, and then it also goes into the health side of your zodiac and what you're more prone to as far as sickness goes, and health-wise what you're like. It goes into your moon signs, your ascending signs, and these are some of the sections I haven't even gotten to yet. I'm just in the health section, but yeah. Oh, it goes into the planets. I'm pretty sure it goes into the houses at some point as well. Probably somewhere in here. Goes into synastry for love. Oh yeah, it has a whole love section of literally going through each zodiac, and for instance, I'm just gonna use Virgo because I'm a Virgo, but Virgo and its compatibility with literally every single other zodiac sign, and it does that for all of them. And so it's a really interesting book, and it has just a lot of detail. So I am literally reading this front to back. It's taking me a little bit of time, but I'm hoping to get it done by the end of the month. I'm hoping to get this other one done fairly soon here as well. I don't know how many books I'll actually be able to read this month, since I do have 2 decent sized ones. I also read a book called, Waking Up in 5D, I believe. I don't remember the author, but I'll probably talk about that with the end of April wrap-ups. But man, this month has gone by really fast, it seems like. So yeah, but that is my reading update. So I did get a couple things at the Tulip Festival today that I went to with my sister, which was really fun. We had a lot of laughs today, which was amazing. I think we both needed it. But I got this wonderful soap, goat soap. It smells like watermelon, and the scent is just, oh, it's amazing. Like, it's very fragrant, and I love just natural soap. Like, I think it's great. I love using it. I got some more frankincense incense because I work with Raphael a lot, and that is the incense that he prefers. And I was all out, so got this at a metaphysical store in Lawrence. Then I got this pretty little handmade cup by a local artist there, and I thought it was very appropriate for the Tulip Festival. A good little remembrance. It's very pretty. I like the colors. I love pottery. I think there's just something about handcrafted pottery. And then it's like blue on the inside. So I thought that was really pretty. And then another metaphysical store, I got this little guy. My very own little voodoo doll. I do not have any voodoo dolls, but it even has like the little skeleton pins on it and everything. Like, I just thought that was so clever. Out of all the metaphysical stores I've been to, I've never really seen them like look like this. So, and this one just kind of has that earthy vibe. So I really liked him and thought he has to come home with me today. So that is my little witch haul. Not much, but found a couple of really fun things that I will enjoy. So it was a really fun day at the Tulip Festival with my sister. It was great to see some tulips. We did get a little bit of confusion though, because the tickets that I bought for the Tulip Festival was actually for a Tulip Festival in Wichita, Kansas. And we went to, where was it? Rakusa or something like that, Kansas instead. And so I was a little bit confused at first when we were walking around because there were tulips scattered like here and there, which was lovely. And there was tons of vendors, obviously, but the brochure that I remembered reading about said 70,000 tulips in like a botanical garden. So I was like head over heels for that. And so we kept walking around and I was like, it just doesn't seem like there's enough tulips to be counted as 70,000, nor did we really run into anything that felt overly botanical. And so then when we got back into the car, we kind of re-looked at it, and sure as heck, it said Wichita's Tulip Festival, and yeah, we were in the totally wrong spot. So we didn't end up going there because it would have been another almost 2-hour drive from where we were at. So, but we did end up going to another like garden area that had a whole bunch of tulips in bloom as well, which is the footage you're going to see. So yeah, it ended up being a really nice day, and it made up for yesterday because yesterday my husband and his mom and I tried to go down to the Tulip Festival, and it was pouring rain. We got hailed on. We were soaking wet by the end of the day, and it was not enjoyable. So I'm glad today made up for it. And yeah, it was a really nice day. So that is all I have for you. And if you like my content, be sure to like, be sure to subscribe. I do weekly videos, so turn on that notification bell so you get all my weekly content. As always, stay happy, stay healthy, and I will see you next time for another video. Bye!